created the world's first 3D printed compostable surfboard last year out of algae and recycled plastic bottles. Yeah, 3D printed, compostable, recyclable surfboard. But I can't take full credit for it. It was the product of a team of about 15 people who I brought together around the world, 7 different time zones, no office space, barely any funding, and we went from idea in a very short amount of time to an answer. So I'll just walk you through that
If
process.
there's some major issue that is just blaringly obvious to you in your industry, and you're looking left and right and no one is trying to solve it, that means you're the one who's got to do it. And nowadays, because of the ability to just rapidly communicate with people and the just availability of so much cheap technology to start to try to figure out answers to those sorts of problems, you can really, at the very least, come up with a very viable way to solve that for an industry. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do with the Dolphin Board of Awesome was, I was trying to surf and couldn't find a surfboard that was actually going to decompose in the ocean if it was to break, or at the very least, I needed a surfboard that I could just feel good surfing as an environmentalist. So since no one was really making them the way I wanted them to make them, I just figured, okay, I've got an email address, I've got a phone, and I've got enough human beings who I've come into contact with in my 23 years of life at that point to be able to start to pull together a tribe of people who could answer that question.
So our question was, what is the most sustainable surfboard in 2016 when we started this in August? And so we created a mission from that by re-engineering that, which is blah, 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 as you can see. And then we created some principles to answer that, which are, some of them are pretty hilarious. Like the 5th one, we keep each other stoked on what is possibly the coolest project happening in the surf world today. The other ones are a lot neater than that.
We just had this hope that if I had a very strong mission and a very strong question, people would want to answer it with me. So that's what I'd recommend is, if there's something to do with packaging, or something to do with shipping, or there's something to do with the way you communicate with your customers, and you just need something to exist that isn't there, just get a bunch of people together who are your friends, figure out who else you need, cold call them, cold email them, bring those people in, and then just go ahead and answer that question, and you can do it.
So we went from the question, which was how do we build the most sustainable surfboard possible this year in August of 2016, to an answer in March 2017, which was we completed this board, and we did it by, we figured out after interviews and questions and ideas and vision quests that it was going to be 3D printing and it was going to be algae, but we didn't know that when we set out.
Definitely some days I'm very scared for the planet. I got started doing this work when I was 12 and I saw An Inconvenient Truth and had definitely the first existential crisis of my entire life up to that point. Because it went from, I'm just, me, and I walk around and I go to middle school and I do this, to all of a sudden, oh my God, I live on a planet that's this small and has this long before we can't live on it, and what am I going to do about that? So, it started with a fear place for me, but what I realized is that's not sustainable, because all that fear becomes toxic, and it kind of diverted me from the path, actually, a little bit later on. In high school, I was trying to stay with it, but the fear thing was just making me feel so depressed about everything that I just wanted to play music to keep myself up on it, and I didn't really get back to trying to do something about, helping preserve this home that we live on this planet until I found people who were doing it from inspired places, people who, some of which are, in this tribe making the surfboard with me, who make their life about solving these issues from a place of elegance and beauty and collaboration and fun. And a way to just create a really beautiful life for yourself in the process of being, kind of a warrior or a steward of this planet.